Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we've got some good racing tomorrow, lots to get stuck into. I've got selections at Ascot, York, Newmarket, yeah that's it, Ascot, Newmarket and York. Starting off in the 145 at Ascot. Now, frustratingly, I've got like 3 or 4 in here that I've been keeping an eye on, or keeping an eye out for in different races. I'm like, yeah, that'll be interesting going forward, that one will be interesting, that one will be interesting. And so many of them have ended up in the same race. Vintage Clarets, Lethal Nymph, Russet Gold, Johan, Badri, Walhampton, King's Lynn. Knowing my luck, I've named all of those and I don't even get the winner. I'm hoping one of those is the winner because I am going to do one of these as my selection. Now, interestingly, this race last year featured quite a lot of these. The winner, the big board, doesn't run. The runner-up, Badri, does. Now, Badri was rated 100 last year. He runs off 96, so he's £4 lower. Vintage Clarets ran off 95 with Connor taking another 5 off, so he was effectively running off 90. This year he's running off 94 because there is no claiming jockey. He's £1 lower. Even if we said he's £1 lower, Badri is still £3 better off for beating him. Can I see a reason why Vintage Clarets could reverse that form? Not really, to be honest. He's bang out of form. And I understand why he's 40 to 1, although he went off a shorter price last year at 17 to 2 compared to Badri. Yeah, there's probably not... I can't really see a reason why I would be picking Vintage Clarets in this race on all of these terms. This is the right race for him, and this is the race I hope he can run quite well in. But I've just got a feeling there's better handicapped rivals in against him. Back in 5th last year, it's still not beaten far, was Existent. Now, he's dropped massively from a mark of 102 down to 88. So what's that? £14. So it's 14 for him, 4 for Badri, and only 1 for Vintage Clarets. Great, continuing on that route. Can you see Vintage Clarets winning this race? No. King's Lynn back in 6th, not beaten far, off 107, runs off 94, so £13 lower. Rohan off 110, now down to 99, £11 lower. Harry Brow, what else? Dream Composer ran off 97, he runs off 93, £4 lower. Get it? Get it to the I think the biggest, the strangest one. Running off the same mark as he did last year. Last year he went off 50 to 1 and finished last. This year he's currently priced at 9 to 1. I couldn't be backing him either. You can't be backing a horse that went off 50s last year, finished last off the same mark, and yeah, he comes into it in better form. But that would certainly put me off Get It, who is probably back up to a mark that he now can't get involved in. So, of those, who do I like? Well, you're probably looking, in my opinion, at 5th, 6th and 7th. Existent, who is down, what did I say, £14. King's Lynn, down £13. And Rohan, down 11. So then I want to look at how the race was run. Existent, I kind of feel, got a nice run through, was covered up, ran on well enough. I'm not totally sure he was unlucky. Has had the one return run at Sandown. Could this have been the target? I'm not sure. He's been to Ascot a few times. He's run okay without really setting the world alight for me. Yeah, I'm just not so sure. Existent is, he's well handicapped for sure. Is he handicapped well enough to win this race at his price? So let's have a look at the prices of it here. I think this is also important. So we're going to try and load up the race now. It is the 145 at Ascot. So let's have a look. 145 at Ascot. So Existent is here at 8s and 10s sort of price. Does that really interest me? Not particularly. The next horse that I mentioned, as I said, would be the 6th place King's Lynn. Went off 9 to 2 favourite last year. I think we were on him that day. He is much lower. He's £13 lower this year. I don't totally feel he didn't get the clearest of runs. I don't totally think he didn't get the clearest of runs. He was definitely unlucky last time. being beaten by Wiltshire. He seemed to hit the front at the right time. Is he just starting to go back up in the handicap to a mark that isn't ideal for him? Potentially. I think for me, everything leads to one horse, and it's all about the trip. I think is far enough because of the ground. I think the ground is quite a key thing. I don't think he runs badly on this type of ground, but I do think the ground is key, and that's Rohan. Now Rohan is down, as I said, £11. Did I say from last year? £11 from last year. But we've got to remember he has won a Group 3 at the course. He's also won 2 Wokingham Stakes off 109, and I'm just having a look the other time he won it, off 112. 109 and 112. He's running in a handicap of 99. Now, he ran in this handicap last year, as I said, off 110. Didn't get the clearest of runs, and was absolutely motoring at the finish. Now, I'm hoping they go fast enough in the ground that he can be finishing fast enough to get into the front. He's going to be finishing best of all, in my opinion. It's whether he gets there in time. If he doesn't, then he'll surely be back for a future race at Ascot. I think I did highlight... I kind of suggested maybe the Air Gold Cup might be a target for him. Could they win that after winning this race? Absolutely, in my opinion. I think they could go very close in an Air Gold Cup still. He was unlucky in the Air Gold Cup last year for 104. As I said, the 6 felt... If this had been over 6, Rohan would be a real strong selection here. He's just not quite as strong, just purely because it's over 5. But I do think this is going to be far enough, and they're going to go quick enough. Yeah, I think that's the key in this race, is just get after him early. David Prober just needs to start riding at an early stage, and I think Rohan is the one I'm going to be backing in this race. You can see he's available at 14s, and that's what's caught my eye here. 14 to 1, rather than the likes of 10s about Existent, Kingsland, who's short at 7s. Vintage Clarets, just I can't see him beating those that are better handicapped. Existent, Kingsland, and yeah, Rohan. So Rohan is my selection at 14s. Moving on to the 2 o'clock at York. The horse I like here, I have mentioned this one before. I think I've even mentioned it for this race. It's got to be Brunch, hasn't it? Running over 7 furlongs and 192 yards in a 0 to 105 handicap. Now, has he run in handicaps at York before over this trip? Yes, he has. He finished, just trying to find it, second in a Hambleton handicap off 104. As I said, he's running off 92, £12 higher. He finished second off a £12 higher mark. He has also finished second off 101 when he went off the 7-2 favourite over this trip. And they were the only 2 runs over this trip. He then went to a mile and 1 for a Group 3, and he disappointed. He finished 7th. And then last time he ran here, he actually finished 3rd to Spirit Dancer and Box to Box. Now, Spirit Dancer has actually gone on and done really good things, hasn't he? Is he not running in Group 1s now? Last seen running in a Group 1 behind Rebel's Romance. His 3rd over the wrong distance was probably a decent effort. He has dropped in the handicap. He's back to the right trip. He's back to the right course. I can't see why he's not going to run a really big race here. And he is priced quite nicely, to be honest. If we can just load up the race. It is the 2 o'clock at York. You can see that Brunch is available at 14 to 1, and I think that's too big. I think, yes, we might have the unexposed sorts at the top, the Elner Jim and Telemark, but Brunch is well handicapped. We're not sure that Elner Jim still is. We're not sure Telemark still is. We know that Brunch is, and I'm quite keen on Brunch here, to be honest. I think he will run a really big race. £12 lower mark than when he's finished second, £9 lower mark than when he's finished second. Moving on to the 2:12 at Newmarket. This is one of my Royal Ascot eye catchers, and the horse I like here is Arasaig. Caught my eye last time out in the what did she run in? What was it? The Sandringham, over a mile. Now, I would have been really, really keen if Jamie Spencer was back on board. He's not, unfortunately, but at least Neil Callan's back on, and Neil has ridden the horse before. And he actually rode it a good race, to be honest. Went third behind Lautrec and Skakusa. Skakusa has come out and obviously finished second at Ascot in the Royal Ascot Festival, and Lautrec did disappoint when just creeping in as a reserve. But I don't mind that form. I think it's quite good form. And I don't think they quite knew what to do with her that day. They then went to Lingfield, and they were right out the back, and it worked beautifully. Picked up really strongly under Franny Norton, and then she was asked to do the same thing for Jamie Spencer, obviously probably one of the best jockeys to have in that situation, and she moved into it quite nicely. She travelled really well. She didn't get the clearest of runs. When asked for an effort, she started to pick up quite strongly, and just faded right near the finish for me. With that in mind, the drop back to 7 I think will be perfect for her. And I do think she's a nice type here. I think if they can give her a nice toe through, and Neil actually rides her, he holds her up, I think she's going to go really close here. And you can currently get, let's have a look. The key with this horse for me was the drop back in trip. She was entered in 2 races over a mile, 2 races over 7. I wanted her over 7. She's in over 7. And she's currently 7-1. So I think that, the stars are aligning, aren't they? 7-1 for a horse that needed 7. She's coming out of stall 7. Go on, be her 7th race. Let's just have a look. She has had... she's already had 7 runs, unfortunately. It's her 7th run in the UK. She went once to Deauville for a listed race. Let's go for that. It's her 7th run in the UK. She's 7-1. Yeah, let's hope she can go really close rather than finishing 7th. Moving on to the 220 at Ascot, the Group 2. And there's a horse here that I think is really, really smart. It's Kudwa. This one, Kudwa. Yeah, Kudwa is the favourite, but he should be. I thought his defeats of the likes of Balance Play and Greek Order last season on debut, really good. Really like that. I thought the horse had plenty of ability on the basis of that. Then went to Newmarket, beat Theatre Honours and Star Ahoy. The right horses again, in my opinion. And last time out back in May for a Queen Anne Stakes trial. They looked like they were going to run in the Group 1, the Queen Anne. And again, I thought Kudwell won it cosily. Despite only getting there on the line, I thought the horse won it cosily. And interestingly, the Connections decided not to run in the Queen Anne. They sent Maljoom, who had finished 3rd. And Maljoom, to be fair, ran a good race. Finished 3rd, again, at Royal Ascot. Kudwell is the better of the two. Kudwell should be running in Group 1s. I think... I don't think there's a Group 1 horse in this race. Sonny Liston is the second favourite. Sonny Liston is not a Group 1 horse. Sonny Liston is a handicapper that can run well enlisted in Group 3 races. Embesto just doesn't look good enough. Epictetus doesn't look good enough. Bolster, yeah. These aren't Group 1 horses. Whereas I think Kudwa will prove tomorrow that, actually, this is a real potential superstar in the making. I'm a massive fan of Kudwa. And the current price of 9-4, I think, is big. How you can have Sonny Liston for a Group 2 at such short price and suggest that that's the danger. If Kudwell gets beat by Sonny Liston tomorrow, Kudwell's not actually that good. But yeah, I mean, Kudwell's been here, has won here, beaten Docklands, who had obviously won at Royal Ascot the year before. There's no real negatives to Kudwell, in my opinion. Has been running on good to soft, so the soft ground shouldn't be an issue. It's not like they've even dodged good to soft. Kudwa is my selection here, and I'm quite strong on this one, to be honest. We move on back to York for the John Smith's Cup over a mile and 2. I'm pretty... did we not have second in this race last year? I'm just having a look. This one here. Give me 2 seconds. We did. We had a second in this race last year at 50 to 1. We advised it at 14s. It drifted all the way out to 50s. And yeah, it was really unlucky. And then went and won a couple of races. Like, I think he won his next one, and might have even won the time after that as well, just to rub salt into the wounds. Was rated 99 that day, got beat off 99. Is currently rated now 111. How frustrating is that? Anyway, who do I like this year? Using that same form line, I like Haunted Dream. I think the right horses were towards the 4 last year in this race with Pride of America and Astro King. Obviously, I really fancied Astro King to run well. He did. Just behind that day, despite not getting a clear run, was Haunted Dream. Now, the new connections, Wathanan Racing, they've been getting it pretty much spot on recently. They've been getting the right horses. When they buy a horse, they do generally go and run a really big race. And to be fair, this horse has already run a really big race for them when second to Isra in the Wolverton Stakes. For me, that horse, Isra, is a proper group horse. Group 2 / Group 1. So to finish second, there was no, that wasn't a bad run at all from Haunted Dream. They drop him back into handicap company. He gets to run off 104 again. I even think his fourth behind Bolster and Paradies was a really good form, considering things didn't go to plan that day either. I'm really quite keen on Haunted Dream here. I think that effort last time demonstrates that they could certainly go really close here, and the fact that he's got the course form in the bag. He went off 3 to 1 favourite, we've got to remember last year. 3 to 1 favourite, didn't get the clearest of runs, and still ran a huge race. Saying 3 to 1, no, he went off 3 to 1 favourite a little bit later off 101 when beaten by Astro King and Oviedo. What did he go off last year for this race? 10 to 1. He went off 10 to 1 for this race last year. He's going to go off a slightly shorter price this year, but I still think he's the one to beat. I think the connections, these new owners, I'm a big fan of them. I think they know what they're doing, and I think they're buying horses that are winning for them. Well, they are buying horses that are winning for them, but they're buying horses that they really... Whoever is watching the handicap marks and studying the form is doing a really, really good job. So, Haunted Dream, available at 6 to 1 for the John Smith's Cup. We won't be having a 50 to 1 shot this year. We will be having a 6 to 1 shot. Moving on to the 4 o'clock at Newmarket. And I've left the ratings open for this one, so you can have a look. There was 2 in this race that had caught my eye. As you know, the Bumbery Cup. They were Carry the One and Bless Him. Now, this was the race I thought for both of them. Bless Him does run, but unfortunately, Jamie Spencer is suspended. He got suspended, I think, at Royal Ascot. Misses this whole meeting. That, for me, is the big key here. If Jamie Spencer was on, I'd be getting on Bless Him. Jamie Spencer's not on. I will be leaving him and hoping that connections have said, Jamie, we'll go there, we'll get him dropped another couple of pound, and then we'll go and find a race that you can win aboard him. Potentially something like the Moe and Shandon International Stakes at Ascot in a few weeks' time. He was second in that race a couple of years ago off 102. He's currently rated 99. If he dropped, say, two more pounds down to 97, you would think he would have a massive chance in that race. Yeah, I'm going to ignore Bless Him in this race and hope it doesn't come back to bite me in the bum. The horse I do like, Carry the One. It's an obvious one, but Ryan Moore is riding. I think because he thinks, probably should have won last time. Got a clear run. I think the horse beats Billy Joe for sure. Whether he catches English Oak, I'm not sure, but would have at least finished second. Gets to run off the same mark, having been beaten by an exceptionally well unexposed English Oak, who went off the 100 to 30 favourite that day for a big handicap. You get to run off the same mark, you get a clear run, and I think Carry the One wins this, to be honest. He, as I've mentioned in a previous video, they kind of were working out what to do with him when they ran him at the Rowley Mile. Still didn't work at Ascot. They got it right at Newmarket. They know what to do at Newmarket. And it nearly worked again at Ascot, but just didn't get a clear run. I think this will be the race that he does get his headed back in front. And what price is he available at? Let's have a look. And let's also load up the last one just to make sure it does load. That'll be going to there. That'll be going to there. Oh, and what a surprise it doesn't load. 5-1 about Carry the One. Yeah, I think he's the one to beat for sure. And I'm going to leave Bless Him at a massive price. But I'm hoping they're waiting for Jamie to get back on board. And finally, the final race that I want to talk about is at Ascot. Back at Ascot for the 407. It's over just short of 1.5 miles. Who do I like here? There's two actually I'm keen on. They are good old favourite Layakel, who never seems to run. He missed out last week, obviously, when Haydock abandoned their race. But that just means that he was ready to run last week. They're happy to run him on the soft ground. He has won at Ascot. He's gone close behind one for the gutter at Ascot. Yeah, he probably disappointed in the Dubai Duty Free, but that was when a random jockey was on him. It was Yao Moreira, and sometimes if you don't know the type of horse, it doesn't always work out. Tom Marquand is back on. Tom obviously rode the horse at Doncaster to win, so you would be hopeful that Tom knows how to ride this horse. I'm sure he's going to run a big race. And the second horse that I am going to have a bet on. I'd have preferred him over 1.6 miles, but I can't ignore him over 1.4 miles because I think he's still got the ability over 1.4 miles, but I think he would have, taken all the beating over 1.6 miles, is Ziggy. I thought Ziggy's effort behind Crystal Black and Epic Poet at Royal Ascot was a really good effort. Didn't get the clearest of runs either. Looked at badly outpaced at one stage before running on strongly, and that's the key to him. I think the faster they go here, the better. Or that softer ground might just slow them down a little bit so that he can keep up. Maybe he wasn't quick enough on the good to firm ground. He had previously run on good to soft and good. A couple of times on soft, including at Sandown when he finished second in a handicap. So they're not worried about this ground for him, for Ziggy. And if that just stunts the speed of those at the front and he can keep up, I think he could go very, very close here. Unfortunately, they've just done this, so we will just load up another tab. Let me do that. We can see there's currently no prices for this race. The forecast prices are Layakel at 5s and Ziggy at 6s. I would take both of those, to be honest. I will be backing both of those. Lord Melbourne is forecast to be the favourite, the last amount winner. But I think both of those in behind. Layakel, the Haggises think is better than what he is. And they've been waiting for a race. Whereas Ziggy, I'm hoping the soft ground just stunts those at the front, stunts their speed a little bit, that he can keep up and finish really strongly. So a quick recap of our selections for tomorrow. We start off in the 145 and we're going for Rohan, who again I'm hoping can keep up if he can. And he's there, if he's within a couple of lengths with a furlong to go, I think he will finish past them and be quickest of them all. If it doesn't quite work tomorrow, I will be backing him next time when he goes back over 6. Brunch at York, he's incredibly well handicapped for his York form. 2 runs in handicaps over course and distance. Finished second off a £9 and a £12 higher mark. Araseg, I like the drop back in trip to 7 furlong. That was the key for this horse. Number 7, everywhere 7 furlong. It's not the 7th race of the day, unfortunately, but yeah, number 7 from stall 7, I think will go really well here. It needs to be ridden from the back, though. I don't want to see Neil going forward. I want to see him waiting out the back. Kudwa, I think Kudwa is a proper Group 1 horse and will prove tomorrow that these are just nowhere near good enough. And Kudwa is the clear best in this race. In the John Smith's Cup, I am going for, who did I say? Haunted Dream. 3rd in this race last year. Ran a great race last time out behind Isra. That form, I actually think, is good enough to win this race. And the owners are very good at picking horses and purchasing into horses. Carry the One for the Bunbury Cup. I think if he'd got a clear run last time, he would have won anyway. Or at least finished second. If he'd finished second to a unexposed, top-rated favourite, short price favourite, a feature handicap, Carry the One probably would have gone up, or at least would have been a shorter price than what he currently is. Mental to say that for a horse that's 5-1. And finally, Ziggy and Layakel. Ziggy, the ground, I think, will slow them down enough that he can keep up. And Layakel, they've been waiting for a decent race. And yeah, hopefully he can run a big race here on his return.